Hey everybody, welcome to Foreign Post. My name is Steve Susans. We are doing our very first daily news roundup for ForeignPost.com, where we'll be bringing you news and information on international development and humanitarian assistance around the world. So let's get things started. So the World Bank is looking for a brand new president. Jim Young Kim has decided to leave, gave his resignation here a couple of weeks ago, and it came as quite a surprise for a lot of people in the international development community that he would be leaving his post within the second term of his presidency. He is a former president of Dartmouth University and a co-founder of Partners in Health. He also worked with the World Health Organization in Africa on their AIDS and HIV project and showed enormous amount of leadership in the role with the World Bank. So speculation has certainly grown as to who will be replacing him. There's been a number of candidates that have come up. Ray Washburn, the Overseas Investment Corporation president, is one. Mark Green, the USAID administrator, has been mentioned in a few reports. David Malpass, who's the U.S. Treasury Undersecretary for International Affairs, his name has been around, but the big push right now is to possibly make history. The U.S. president traditionally is the one who nominates the president for the World Bank, and a big push is to nominate a woman to the position, which would be the very first in the World Bank history. Nikki Haley's name has been batted around in various reports. She's the former U.S. ambassador to the UN. Indra Nooyi, who's the former CEO of PepsiCo, again, has been mentioned as a candidate, as well as Ivanka Trump. Ivanka is somebody well established in the administration, but further reports from last week indicate that she might not be a candidate, but might be part of the selection committee. Now, this is a huge role, and certainly we'll keep our eye on it as developments move on and keep you informed once a nominee is made. And all of this right before the World Bank spring meetings, as well as so many crises around the world with Syria and Afghanistan, as well as Venezuela. And speaking of which, we'll turn our attention now to Venezuela. Right now, on a 24-hour basis, the political turmoil seems to be turning one way or the other. Things really started to heat up when the inauguration of Nicolas Maduro took place. The international community came out strongly opposing the inauguration, as well as the May elections. Allegations of fraud seem to be rampant. Maduro took power back in 2012, and subsequently this last election in May gives him another 6-year term. But apparently the Venezuelans and the international community was not going to have it. The Trump administration surprised a lot of people when Juan Guaido got the full support of the U.S. government. Guaido is the opposition leader and the head of the National Assembly, who basically declared himself as president earlier this week. And then that seemed to have a ripple effect on political activities going on a daily basis. As soon as the Trump administration put their support behind Guaido, Maduro ordered U.S. diplomats out of the country within 72 hours. Mike Pompeo, the U.S. Secretary of State, told Maduro, "We don't recognize your government and our diplomats will be staying put." And that prompted Maduro to pull his own diplomats out of Washington and the U.S. And then the question came up of what happens now. Guaido is apparently in hiding. I'm sure his safety is being questioned. There's more and more protests in the streets of Caracas. It seems as if the tide might be changing towards more of an international support towards the Guaido government, but Maduro still has his friends, Russia, Cuba, China. Russia has come out with a statement warning the U.S. against any intervention in Venezuelan politics at this time. And then questions arose with the military, whether or not they would support Maduro. Just yesterday, the military chief in Venezuela came out with full support of President Maduro and questioned whether or not this is the spark of what could be a civil war in the country. We are keeping our eye on the situation there. We certainly wish the best for the Venezuelan people and hope that no bloodshed is spilled. as well as the NGO community there. We're going to hopefully get a few people on the ground from the NGO community on the line with us and get some reports for next week. But we'll certainly keep you up to date with what's going on there. So we now turn to the Syrian refugees in Lebanon. These refugees, thousands of which have left their homeland, made their way across the border into Lebanon, and have been there for years with growing numbers. They start off 2019 with torrential rains and freezing temperatures, which have wiped out most of the tent cities, and the suffering continues there. The UNHCR is on the ground working with different groups to hopefully rebuild and give some sort of sense of stability to the children and these refugee groups that are still there, with food and shelter as much as they can to make those conditions somewhat stable. To make matters worse, Lebanese President Michel Aoun at the Arab Summit last Sunday declared his desire to have the Syrian refugees return to their homeland. He's receiving a lot of support from other summit members and certainly neighboring countries. But the question remains, what will they be returning to? Syria is still a volatile landscape. The bombings up north, although targeted, seem to indicate that the violence is far from subsiding. And what lies in wait for these folks, and where would they go? I think those questions have to be answered through the various countries there, the players on the ground, the aid organizations, and how exactly this would work and when would it take place. We'll keep our eye on it. We know we want to be reaching out to some of the folks that are at the refugee camps and asking them questions to see what's going on. So the question is, how can you help? Well, www.unrefugees.org is a place that you can get on and donate money, find out what those needs are, see if you can fill those needs, or get the latest information from the UN folks that are on the ground. We'll be keeping our eye on this and hopefully talking with people back there in Lebanon to see what needs to be done and what the latest news is. Well, that's it for our first daily news roundup here on Foreign Post, but we wanted to close things by highlighting an organization that is doing incredible work down in the Dominican Republic. Somos Amigos is a medical mission that started in 1997, goes down to the Dominican Republic every year, 4 times a year actually, that brings physicians and volunteers and does incredible work on primary medical conditions as well as dental work. I got wind of the work that they do through Dr. Marcus Jimenez of Fort Wayne, Indiana, who's an old childhood friend who told me about the work that he was doing. He's a member of the board, and then turned me on to their website. I'll tell you, the video that they show is incredible. The people are getting so much out of it. Last year, they treated more than 1,500 folks. Many of these are repeat residents, as well as some of the Haitian community. They do so many incredible things. And one of the things that really kind of caught my eye is that they've got a denture making facility there. And the looks on the faces of the folks that get these dentures and their families is priceless. You can get involved, certainly, with the work that they're doing there at Somos Amigos and down in the Dominican. In fact, last week, they just completed their first visit of the year for 2019. They'll be making 3 others. And they're looking for volunteers. They're certainly looking for funds. To get involved, you can get on their website at www.somosamigos.org, and I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. We're hopeful that we can get down there with a camera crew and walk around for a couple of days and talk to some of the folks that are doing it and be able to report back on that in a later edition of Foreign Post. If you are involved in an organization or do work out in the field, or it doesn't have to be any large organization or NGO, we want to hear from you. You can send us your stories, your videos, your photographs, anything to info@foreignpost.com. We'll take a look at it and then hopefully put it on the pages and give you a little promotion, as well as possibly put you on our podcast as a guest. We'd love that. Again, it's info@foreignpost.com. And, well, that's it. I'm Steve Susans. Thanks for joining us. And remember, ForeignPost.com is there to help those who help others. And we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.